starts right now on KDWB.
Let's count the different ways that you can get caught cheating. Number one, you have, a hotel room key in your purse or your pocket. Jenny, name a way you can get caught cheating.
Well, you see a text message pop up from someone who has the same name as their ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one.
Okay, and then there's one where you find something suspicious at their house. And that is what Estelle is going to tell us about right now. Hi, Estelle.
Hi, hello.
Before we get to the suspicious item, give me a little background on you and James. Tell me about, whatever you want to share, like how long you've been seeing each other and anything that you want to share about James.
Well, we've been seeing each other for almost a year, and we've both been married before. But, we're not really discussing marriage yet. We're not seeing other people, but it just feels really casual and open,
Well, that's cool. I totally understand. Like, if you just, I don't know how old you are, but you sound young. And if he's young too, you probably got married at a young age, divorced at a young age. You don't want to rush into it. But at the same time, you kind of want to know whether you're the only one.
Sure.
Okay. So what happened that made you go, is there somebody else?
Okay. Well, last Sunday night, I bought Lee and Chin. I brought it over for dinner, and we had a good time. And I was going to throw the bag away, the to-go bag, and in the kitchen trash can is like a can of chocolate frosting, like cake frosting.
Okay.
And half of it is full. So it was half used and then thrown away.
Okay.
And I asked James, I said, what is this? Because I know he doesn't cook, much less bake. He burns toast. So I asked him why he had frosting, and I don't know. I just thought, it had to be something weird or sexual, or because at one point during sex we used maple syrup.
Okay. I want to make sure I just heard what I just heard, because no judging. Mm-hmm. This is a you do you zone for sure. But you saw the frosting and you said, oh, this isn't him making a cake. He doesn't make cakes. He doesn't make brownies. You said it's got to be something sexual, because one time you and James used maple syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. How was the maple syrup? Can you give me a Yelp review on the maple syrup?
Oh my gosh. It was horrible. It was sticky. It was a terrible idea. And I did have to throw away my sheets.
Oh, wow. That's intense. And was it his idea from the get-go to use maple syrup?
Yeah, I think we were joking about it for breakfast one morning, and then by dinner time, he really got into the idea.
Maple syrup on my pancakes for breakfast, maple syrup in the bedroom for dinner.
All right. But not a good, so it was sticky, gross, messy. It was not. But then you said, okay, well, James had the idea of maple syrup. Maybe he also had the idea of frosting, and that's why there's a half-empty can of chocolate frosting in the kitchen trash.
Yeah. Maybe they did something kinky with it or something.
But there's nobody else that you know of. But naturally, I'm going to hope you're not one of those people that let it go. You asked James about the chocolate frosting.
Yeah, I asked him a couple of times, and because he was being a little shady about it. He said he just wanted frosting, and then he got over it. And then I asked him again, and he said that he got with himself with the frosting.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
That's not a thing, right?
No, I don't know. Different people will do different things.
Don't look at me.
No,
I don't know what it's like to get with yourself as a man.
Well, no. I just was like, sure. There's probably people who, I don't know, do different, like a Nerf ball. You know what I mean?
Oh,
there are probably some weirdos that have actually made sweet, sweet love to a Nerf ball.
Yeah, Estelle, if you didn't know this story, that is actually a Dave Ryan original where he used a Nerf ball for some loving one time.
I was like, don't just shut up,
Like,
Estelle.
wait a second. I didn't come on here to talk about Dave and a Nerf ball.
No, I was like 14. I had the 14-year-old hormones going, so I said, wonder what this would feel like. And so when I hear a story about some dude doing something like getting with a can of frosting, I don't judge it. It's like, I don't know that it's a thing. Let us know. Send us a text and let us know. Do people do things with frosting? Probably.
Yeah.
Do people do a get with yourself thing with frosting? I don't care. Do they?
I mean, don't look at me. I have no idea.
All right.
I can't fathom how that would work in the bedroom where it'd be beneficial for you yourself, because isn't the point to like taste it? So like you got to put it in a region that you can actually reach to taste it. You know what I'm saying? So like I would say no. I wouldn't use frosting by myself.
So I guess the thing is, Estelle, you're just wondering, did he make up the get with yourself with the frosting thing? Did he have somebody else over? Did he have, I don't know, somebody that he was doing some little frosting kinky thing and then used half the can, threw it in the trash, and then forgot that it was there? Something like that, you got to throw it in the neighbor's dumpster. Or you got to take it down to the Holiday Station store and throw it in the trash there.
Yeah.
So you don't have any incriminating evidence around your house. Okay, Estelle, here's what I'm going to do. We can call him. Call James and say, okay, hey, we're with your cable company, we're with your phone company, we're going to give you a little survey. It's not a real survey. We're not with the bank or whatever. But then we'll say, as an incentive, we can send a dozen red romantic roses to whoever you want. Now, the logical choice is going to be you. But with the whole frosting in the trash, we don't know. But if you're ready to find out, we'll do that next, okay?
Great.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk with, we'll make the phone call. We'll talk with Jonathan Fogel from Fogel Family Law. In the meantime, send a text and let me know. Frosting? Yes. Or maple syrup? Yes. I really have no idea. Send a text at KDWB1.
And now, the dramatic conclusion of War of the Roses. Well, a girl can hope. 101.3 KDWB.
Let me reset this for you in case you missed the first part or need a little recap of War of the Roses. So they've been dating for a while, and they're like, like not real serious, but serious enough they're exclusive. She comes to his house, and they get Leanne Chin. So she's throwing the bag in the trash, and the top of the trash can is a half-full can of chocolate frosting. And she's like, well, you don't bake. What do you got frosting for? So she remembered the time that they got,
Down and dirty.
Yeah, with some maple syrup. And she said, it didn't go very well. It was kind of sticky and gross and whatever. But it made me think, when I was out of town or gone, did he get down and dirty with somebody with a can of chocolate frosting? So many comments on this one before we make the phone call and talk to Jonathan Fogel. This one says, syrup, no. Frosting, yes. So they've done that before.
Yeah. This person says he is cheating. No one would throw away perfectly good frosting. I agree with that. I've had frosting as a little snacky before.
Okay, just like, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Spoonful.
Somebody says, what if he warmed it up and American pied it? I mean, I think that's what he's kind of saying.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful with that because it could be like seriously hot in the middle. Another one says he was using that can of frosting like Dave used the Nerf ball. This text says, sometimes people have a bad day and they'll eat half a container of cake frosting. I'm married, and even I would admit to my husband that I ate half a container of frosting in one sitting. So basically, we're going to call him. We're going to find out whether he wants to send roses to somebody else. If he does, that means very likely that he was with somebody else, that the cake frosting was not innocent. Let's make the phone call. We'll do that, and then we'll talk to Jonathan Fogel on War of the Roses on KDWB.
James, thanks so much for taking the time to do that survey. I really appreciate it. And because you took the time, I am going to get you set up with a dozen long stem romantic roses to send out to whoever you want. So you just give me a name and I'm going to get these all set up for you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with, gosh, it's crazy. Thanks for doing this. Estelle.
Okay, awesome.
I have to let you in on something. This is going to get a little bit weird, but let me tell you, it's all good news as far as we know. James, this has all been a scam. There's no survey. Your phone company doesn't care what you think of their service. There's no, and most importantly, there's no roses. But the bigger shock is people are listening to see who you want to send roses to. And I'm not with the phone company or anything. My name's Dave. I work at KDWB in Minneapolis. And I was put up to making this phone call to you. That's Jenny, by the way. She's not with the bank either, or the phone company.
It's not Mandy, no.
So we wanted to find out who you'd send flowers to. And you said, and you said Estelle, which is great news because guess who's listening in on this phone call? Estelle is listening. Say hi, Estelle.
Oh, my God. Wow, hey.
So
It's so weird.
It is. No, it's weird. It's a mind blower. I mean, I can't imagine getting this phone call. So, Estelle, if you will, tell James why you wanted to put him on the spot to see who he would send flowers to. Estelle, do you want to explain to James what it's all about?
Yeah. This is embarrassing, but I just, after the other night, I was worried that you were seeing someone else when I saw that, half-eaten frosting in the trash. So I called the radio station.
So she remembered the time that you... Let me help you out a little bit. She remembered the time, James, that you and her got busy with some maple syrup as a little, extracurricular tool. And she said, I wonder if James had somebody over when I was gone, and they, instead of using maple syrup, they used frosting. And so she went to that. But you denied that. You said, and this is what she told us, that you claimed that you got with yourself with the frosting.
Yes, and thank you, Estelle, for making that public. But yes, yeah.
See, I believe him.
I do believe him. I just have questions.
What do you want to ask?
Probably questions that I can't ask on the radio.
I have a question. What did you actually... You never told me what you actually did with the frosting. Like, did you stick it in, or...
You gotta... You can't. You gotta watch the sharp edges.
Oh,
what if there's sharp edges?
Right.
Because did you have the pull back frosting top, the little ring top, and you pull it back? It's got sharp edges on there, James. I don't want to know what he did.
Yeah.
Can we skip that part?
No, I would like to hear more details. No, I'm kidding. We can skip it.
James,
I'm sorry.
I don't think I would show my face in public if I were you after being on the radio. But, listen, no judgment. Everybody's got their little thing.
Yeah.
What kind of a Yelp review would you give the frosting yourself?
Not a great one. That's why it was only half used. I'd say it was not... Yeah, it didn't turn out to be as...
Well, that's not what it's supposed to be used for, so I feel like that's unfair.
What do you think, War of the Roses? I believe him. I think that he tried something that people might try, and it's like, we tried it. It didn't really work. Jenny and I both admitted that at one point or another, we used whipped cream.
Yes.
With our respective partners, and I used full-on dairy whipped cream. It gets in your nose.
Yep.
The rest of the day, you're smelling sour, spoiled milk smell in your nose. If I remember right, I even took a wet Q-tip and went up my nose to kind of rinse it out a little bit, because the rest of the day I had whipped cream spoil smell in my nose.
And I made the mistake of using a non-dairy whipped cream, and it just tasted awful. So not only was it sticky and not the best thing, it tasted bad too.
Next time I'm going to bring turkey meatballs. I'm going to bring turkey meatballs in the bedroom. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. But
where are you going to put those?
Well, I don't know, but it'd be kind of creative. Jonathan, anybody ever come to court talking about turkey meatballs in the bedroom?
Oh, you know what? No, but you know what? You're making me hungry. Now I need to go get something.
That made you hungry, Jonathan?
No, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Jonathan Fogel is a family attorney, and he's also funny, and he also does improv. So you name another lawyer in town that's funny and does improv. So Jonathan, been doing legal, family law, divorce law, custody, support, all that stuff for years and years and years. And he can help you out. Jonathan, what is your takeaway this week? What do you want to talk about with War of the Roses?
Well, I feel like I missed an opportunity here, right? Because I thought after hearing this, I'm like, God, this would be a great time to talk about self-care and the importance of self-care.
Okay.
But But, I mean, I think I've talked about that a lot, and people know how important that is. So
It
I
is.
will not go there.
Okay.
But this made me think about, I've reviewed a lot of prenuptial agreements and seen a lot of prenuptial agreements, and it made me think about some curious provisions people have asked to have in prenuptial agreements.
Okay.
And I've seen things like, someone has to actively wear lingerie, right, for a certain amount of time, or specific types of sex at least once per week that they have to have.
Okay.
Or I've also seen like certain role-playing things that were allowed or not allowed during the marriage, right?
If you did, wouldn't you say that's kind of a red flag or a weird flag? Like if you got to put that into a prenup that you must do this, or you must wear lingerie, or we are not allowed to do, truck driver and whatever. We're not allowed to
Truck
do that.
stop girl.
and truck stop waitress. I mean, but people actually do this.
People put a lot of weird provisions in there, and I think most times people think of prenuptial agreements as dealing with property and things like that. But you see people put things in there, especially in states where they have fault, which is if you have an affair or something like that, they'll put things in their prenuptial agreement that will say, hey, if you do these things, then you don't get as much money or you don't get as much of the property.
Okay, crazy. All right, so let's talk. Do we need to talk about prenups? I mean, prenups are a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd stay on that topic for a second here, right? I mean, people see them certainly as unromantic or insulting, right? To be like, someone comes to you with a prenup, like you said. But they can also be useful, especially where I see them used most, and the way they're most used is when people have second marriages or they get married later in life, right? You want to protect your assets that you've built yourself, or maybe you have kids from a first marriage and you want to make sure that your assets are going to go to your non-joint children, right, instead of to your current wife, right? It's also used a lot when people own businesses, right? So they want to protect the transfer of those businesses to maybe their business partners or to other people.
Okay.
And it also, look, at the end of the day, are they good or bad? I don't know, but I also know, what I do know is that they can help limit the amount of attorney's fees you have to pay, right? Because it already has made some pre-planning decisions on what's going to happen with assets.
Okay. I mean, I think they're a good thing. I mean, I don't want to name anybody, but I know somebody very, very well. They had a lot more money going into the relationship than her husband had, and so they did sign a prenup because, you don't know whether, what the future is going to hold. What if you wake up one morning and go, I don't really want this anymore, but now they got half of my stuff.
Yeah.
Talk to Jonathan Fogel about your prenup. Talk to Jonathan Fogel about your, what is the first step? A lot of people are like, man, I'm going to stay married because I don't know what the first step is. We're never here to encourage divorce, but we're here to encourage happiness. Life is short. Want to be happy. So if you're not happy in your marriage and you're like, I don't want to know, I don't know what the first step is. I don't know what my exposure is. I don't know how much money I'm going to lose or whether I can survive on this. Talk to Jonathan Fogel. FogelFamilyLaw.com, Fogel, FogelFamilyLaw.com. Or if you want to call Jonathan, maybe you're like, I don't want to go on the internet. I don't like the internet. Scary. What's your phone number, Jonathan?
It is 612-822-6244.
612 822 6244. If you miss it, text me and I'll be happy to give it to you. Jonathan, have a good weekend, and we will talk to you again next week, okay?
Of course, and I'm going to leave you with one thing.
Please.
I always feel like that story about the Nerf, it gives new meaning to the Nerf's slogan, fear the foam. That is their slogan. And that
okay, hang up on him. Hang up on him. Jonathan, we love you. Have a great weekend, okay?
You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you
All
later.
right. See you, my friend.